So now we're going to do some practice repetitions, and it's very, very important. You'll notice the title of this video is experimental reps or experimental repetitions. It's very important that as you're learning a new skill, and especially if you've made some changes to your technique, some adjustments based on what I talked about in the last video, it's important that you give yourself total freedom to just go ahead and try stuff. And I'm going to tell you what to try in just a second, but give yourself that freedom. Number two, it's important that during these practice repetitions, there's very little to no challenge. And you could do this by just dropping a ball to yourself and practicing the technique elements I'm about to talk to you about. You can do this by having a partner or a coach feed you just the easiest possible shot. Shots Kirby is about to hit me are not going to move me at all. They're going to be right to my strike zone. And it's just going to be very calm and relaxed so that I have total focus on trying different things and seeing what happens. So as you go through these practice repetitions, you're going to focus on two things: the angle of your racket face, how open it is versus how closed it is, and how firmly you hit through contact. I kind of hesitate to use the word fast or the speed, because this really is not ever going to be an aggressive swing. It's always going to be calm and slow and relaxed. So the main variables are going to be the angle of the face and how firmly you go through contact. A little bit firmer, a little bit more open face. The more height you're going to get, the more closed. You get the idea. So Kirby, please feed me a couple easy backhands. And you'll notice that on the other side, we've got a line that separates the service line and the baseline. It's halfway between both of those two lines. Now, in case you didn't know, there's 18 feet of space between the service line and the baseline. As you're practicing, your target should be somewhere in between that halfway marker and the baseline. 9 feet might sound like a lot of space to you, but honestly, anything that lands in this general area is going to be at least somewhat of a challenging shot for your opponents, especially if you're down towards the 3-0, 3-5 range of the spectrum. But even at 4-5, if you land a lob anywhere in this area, it's not going to be a gimme. It could possibly be that they'll hit an overhead and win the point, but you're at least forcing them back out of the service boxes, forcing them to go back and hit something that's at least slightly challenging. So as you hit these, focus on the height of your shots. And the main thing I'll tell you here is that the apex of the arc of your shot should be directly over the net. So you want the middle of the flight of your ball to be right over the net. If the center of your shot, the peak of its arc, is on your side of the court, then it's going to be an easy shot for your opponent. So focus on the peak of your shot, and especially if you're inside, look at, we have really a kind of a perfect scenario here. We have a nice arced ceiling, and so what I'm doing is just visually tracking my shot along the ceiling and seeing how evenly my shot is dispersed from my side of the court over to Kirby's side of the court. So I might try being a little bit more open with one shot, and I'll get a little bit higher pass with that, maybe a little bit firmer and open to get a higher, longer arc, and maybe on some a little bit softer and more closed, so I get a little bit lower arc. And just experiment with different angles, different firmnesses, and try to land the ball in that same spot on the other side over and over again. Very easy feeds, no pressure with your footwork, and just give yourself total freedom to just experiment with the different variables that we just talked about.